Today we're going to be taking a look at Scream 6 and the biggest reasons why you should go out and see this movie. So unlike most installments in this franchise, this movie is not set in Woodsboro and instead takes place in New York City, continuing the stories of the four main survivors from last year's film, sisters Samantha and Tara, as well as siblings Mindy and Chad. All of them are just trying to move on from the past and try and have some sort of a normal life. For Tara, she's in college now, she's going out to parties, trying to join sororities, and is very committed to not letting this one traumatic moment in her life define her. As for her sister Samantha, who followed her to New York City, she's dealing with her trauma in a different way. She's going to therapy, she's very uptight and overprotective of her sister, she carries a taser with her wherever she goes, but their attempt to have any sort of normalcy is short-lived because a new Ghostface appears, horrific killings ensue, which brings out all your legacy characters including Gale Weathers, Kirby Reed, who's now an FBI agent helping out with the case, and from there you have a pretty traditional Scream movie. Look, this is back-to-back weeks now where we have sequels to long-running franchises that are definitely formulaic movies. Last weekend we had Creed 3, this weekend it's Scream 6, so you know going in what the formula is going to be. That said, I do want to talk about some of the things that stood out to me that aren't as formulaic, that I think the movie tries to do something different and succeeds. And the first thing that obviously stands out is the fact that this movie is in New York City. And the movie does a good job of implementing some of the iconography and set pieces of New York City into some of its most tense sequences. There's a great scene that takes place in a bodega, and perhaps the best sequence in the entire movie takes place in a subway train. It's super tense, it's claustrophobic, they do really cool effects with the lighting flickering. It's also ironically set during Halloween, so there's like 5 Ghostface dressed up in the subway cars, so you don't know if they're real, if they're not. Another thing that stuck out about this movie versus other installments is that I think the Scream franchise does a really good job of balancing horror and satirical comedy, and this installment felt like it was more one-sided towards just brutal violence. I mean, this movie doesn't hold anything back. People are taking shotgun blasts to the face, taking knives in the eyes and the nose. Every single stabbing that happens in this movie feels like it's so visceral and packs such a tremendous punch. In terms of the characters, I thought Melissa Barrera as Samantha Carpenter was really good in this movie, especially without Neve Campbell here. Another weird comparison to the Rocky or to Creed 3 because Stallone wasn't in that movie. Now Neve Campbell isn't here. But without Neve Campbell here to share some of that weight, she has a lot on her plate. They explore a lot of the darkness and the fact that she's Billy Loomis's daughter here, and how that plays a role in how the public perceives her, how she perceives herself. And she has great chemistry with Jenna Ortega's character Tara. You could just see that these two characters love and care for one another, which makes you as an audience member care for these two characters and makes you invested in whether or not these two are going to make it out of this movie or not. But other than that, I don't really have that much to say that wouldn't apply to any other Scream movie. Because like I said, it kind of just follows the formula. There's a great introduction in this movie that equally subverts and maintains tradition. There's memorable kills throughout the movie and probably some of the most effective of the entire franchise. You have all the satirical callbacks and references to previous movies and to horror in general, and it has a pretty satisfying ending that a lot of these Scream movies do. I'd say for me personally this time around, the satisfying ending doesn't necessarily have to do with the big reveal of who the villain is, because that was maybe a little bit underwhelming for me, but it was definitely satisfying for what it allowed the surviving characters, the remaining characters to do, because it was pretty freaking badass. So those are my biggest reasons why you should go out and see Scream 6. If you happen to see it, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.